What is up, YouTube? Johnny B here again today, and I am here with the Ford Fiesta ST. That is our current project build. We are continuing with the rear end. We almost finished last video. There was just a little bit of things that we needed to do, and as the week progressed, we actually did a little bit of more welding, a little bit more of cutting and fabricating to get everything to fit properly. So you guys will see that in a moment. But we still need to finish it up. It's not quite perfect. We still gotta weld a little bit more, gotta do a little bit more grinding. And then I also need to make the little section that's gonna be visible a little bit nicer looking. So I'm gonna be using some glaze, which is normally what I use for body work. So that'll make that area nice and smooth, and it'll just look overall really nice. And that's what we want, because that spot's gonna be completely visible. We want it to be as flat as possible and to look good. So let's get on with it. All right, so this is the part that I'm gonna go ahead and do some body work on. This piece here was the original piece of the car. We welded it to this plate, which is also welded to another plate. And then this is welded to the steel pipe that we put to actually mount this part, which is the latch for the hatch. So we wanna make this look nice because we're probably not gonna be covering this up. So with a little bit of glaze, we'll fill in a lot of like the little welding spots, a little of like the indentations, imperfections here and there, just to make it as smooth as possible. And then in regards to the rest of it, as you guys can see, I just did I basically just did stitch welding, because since that's kind of a thin sheet metal, you can't really just go all out and just do a solid weld because it's gonna eat through it. And I was having some issues where it was eating through the sheet metal. So I just basically did a bunch of stitch welding just to make it nice and rigid. It's really strong. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do something to where it makes it look like OEM. So as you can see, this is an OEM piece here, and they use a type of silicone that just kind of covers up that section, seals it, and it just makes it look good. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be putting silicone in this area too, just to kind of cover that up and make it look more of an OEM, more of an original type modification, to where it's still gonna look good. And they're gonna do the same thing with like the insides and all that. So all those welds are gonna be covered up anyways. And then, we'll obviously go ahead and paint it, because this is regular steel, so it will rust. So we want to make sure we go ahead and cover it up so it doesn't rust, even though we don't have that issue here in Arizona. But just in case some water does get in or whatnot from like when it rains, we don't want that. On the outside of it, we're probably gonna just do like some underbody coat on this section where the box is at. Gonna underbody coat just the outside areas, just to, same thing, weatherproofing and silicone sealing some of the edges, just to make sure that the whole trunk is completely sealed off and it's going to be waterproof and everything. So that's the goal for today. So I have to do some grinding real quick and some welding, so let's get started. All right, here we are, guys. Now we are finally done with all of this customization that we've been doing just to get this rear end to be how we wanted, how we imagined in our head. And I think it came out great. I don't know what you guys think, but with the flat black, it kind of gives it like a nice contrast. Obviously, we're not gonna have the bumper off all the time, but even like this, it looks kind of cool. So I would be down to just drive it around like that and throw people off. This metal section right here is perfectly straight now, so nothing looks ugly anymore. It used to be all bent up and like wrinkled, and it was just an overall, like, it wasn't appeasing to the eye. But now it looks good. You guys can see the box here that we made so we can fit the spare. And the door is closing perfectly fine. But this isn't the best part. You know, it looks good now that it's flat black, because obviously this crash bar was white and then this was just like steel. So that'll hopefully protect it, you know, from rust. And then obviously now it's not a different color. Black is normally found on any other car. But let me take you guys to the inside now. So let me start off by showing you guys the area where the hatch actually goes. And this section was just a pipe, and then it was just a piece of flat metal. So we ended up using another piece of flat metal to kind of finish it off and seal it. Obviously it wasn't 100% perfect, so I did use some glaze to kind of fill in all the holes and fill in like the imperfections, and now it looks pretty smooth. So where it looks almost like an OEM piece, and it literally has like a little handle, you can kind of like pick it up, wrap your hand around the pipe, and it's just overall really cool. I think it came out really nice. And then if we look at the actual base area where the tire would sit or anything that you want to store, the actual rounded edges that we made actually ended up looking really good. Where the welds were at, I just went ahead and used some silicone to kind of seal that up, kind of like the OEM. Because like, for example, this right here in this section, this is how it comes from factory. They use like some silicone sealant to kind of seal in the panels. So I ended up doing a very similar thing with what we did. That way it looks OEM-ish or OEM-ish, and it just looks good. Obviously this is all gonna be covered up, but when we do open it up, we want it to still look good. And I think we accomplished what we wanted for our goal. And I don't know what you guys think, but it looks really nice. All right guys, so we are finally done doing all of this body work and getting all the panels straight. That was kind of our priority at the moment, because we want to get this car ready for inspection, get it to pass, you know, the inspection, so that we can go ahead and put it into a restored title and we can actually register it and everything. So now that we're done with that, we can now focus on other things, and those other things are being mods. We're gonna do all kinds of mods that we have lined up for this. We're gonna go pretty much all out with this car. So if you guys have any suggestions that you guys think would be kind of cool, obviously we don't want to be doing any of the little nitpicky mods. We just want to go all out with the hardcore mods. You know how it is, how I did with my FRS. I didn't replace valve stem caps or like little aesthetic mods. Most of the time it was just like big expensive parts that were actually performance oriented, you know, including suspension. We're going to be doing cooling, whether that be, you know, oil, radiator, and all kinds of other things. Big turbo, would you guys be interested in seeing a big turbo? I'm sure you would, right? Just like my FRS. And we just have all kinds of different ideas and for mods that we want to do. Obviously we're going to take it a step at a time and probably come out a video a week for you guys with another mod for the Fiesta, because this is going to be the project for a while. I hope you guys are enjoying the actual build of the Fiesta. It's not really something you see here in the United States. It's kind of rare actually. Not a lot of YouTube channels actually talk about the Fiesta, and the ones that do have them, there are guys that don't really mod them. They just do all the little mods, just the little cool aesthetically pleasing mods, and they don't really do an actual build of the car. It's just mainly a daily driver car, and they don't really care about it too much. But like in the UK, you see all kinds of YouTube channels from a bunch of different guys that all have the Fiesta ST, what they call it, and it's just crazy over there. People love the hatches over there. Like, you have all kinds of hatches, hot hatches that they just run, and Fiesta being one of the top ones that they run. And there's just so many mods, so much aftermarket support, but it's all in the UK. It's something that's really rare here. Here you see more of the muscle guys that want to stay with, you know, the domestic cars, and they don't really go into like the little tuner cars for Ford or Chevy. If you do tuners here in the US, it's mostly JDM stuff or Japanese, or like Toyota, Nissan, Honda. So this is gonna be something that's gonna be completely different. It's gonna stand out, and hopefully you guys enjoy this build series. So make sure to subscribe, stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time.